Memphis announced Tuesday that an MRI shows a bone bruise, which makes Ja Morant doubtful for the remainder of the playoffs. The Grizzlies have said they believe the injury was, quote, triggered when Jordan Poole made contact with the All-Star point guard during Game 3. Chris Broussard is back with us this morning. Chris, weigh in here. Do you believe there's any truth to what the Grizzlies are alleging?
No, I don't. And I think it's unfortunate and kind of cheap that they did this. And maybe it's the back and forth, you know, Draymond on Brandon Clark, Dylan Brooks, and Steve Kerr. And now they fired back, we know, with the broke the code tweet from Ja. But I think there are two other plays or two other incidents where I think it's more likely that they caused the injury than Jordan Poole grabbing at Ja's knee. Here's the first one. We have it on video. When he bumped knees, Ja, with Klay Thompson early in the third quarter. You'll see on this play at the right wing, at the three-point line, right there, they bumped knees. And remember, Ja was limping, like he kind of had to walk it off, you see right there. So that may have, I think that's a better chance that caused the injury than Jordan Poole grabbing it. And then the play right here with Poole, you see they bumped knees right there before Poole grabbed his knee. And I think that's another instance right there. His knee is kind of in an awkward position, Ja. I think those are the two plays where he likely got injured. Rather than Poole grabbing it, I just don't, even if Poole grabbing it did cause the injury, guys, I don't think it was on purpose. I've never even heard of a guy like injuring somebody grabbing like that. I think the bumps are more likely to have caused the injury than him pulling at it.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's how you get a bone bruise, Skip. You either bang knees or you fall on the ground. You fall on the football field or you fall on the basketball, on the hardwood.
Yep.
That, you don't get a bone bruise by pulling.
No.
You can't bruise somebody by tugging. You got to pound on it. And like, I agree with you, Chris. I mean, come on, man, stop this. It was aggravating. So in other words, he had the bruise, but what Jordan Poole did, it irritated and made it flare up. The man missed 25 games because of injuries to both of his knees. And the last 9 games that he missed in the regular season was because of the right knee. So he had issues coming into the playoffs. And unfortunately, normally, what I tell guys, you limp into the season, you limp out of it. You limp into the postseason, you're probably going to limp out of it.
Yep.
And that's what happened with Ja. He limped into the postseason. Yeah, he was able to get by against Minnesota. But, I mean, the amount of minutes that he was required to play and the banging around and how he flies around, it was just a matter of time. But stop trying to blame the man's injury on Jordan Poole. The Jordan Poole didn't cause this injury.
Okay. I hear everything you just said. If the Grizzlies had announced that Ja had any other kind of knee injury, I would be more susceptible to believing that what did trigger it was the grab of the knee.
Right.
But they announced bone bruise.
Right.
So to Chris's point, appreciate the video, Klay did bang knees with him, and then Ja did a little bit bang knees with Jordan Poole. I don't think that was it. It looked more like, because he was limping right after the Klay, that was where he's getting a flying start and kind of in midair.
Right.
They're just going right kneecap to kneecap.
Yes.
Well, that can do it.
Absolutely can do it.
Once you get a bone bruise deep in the bone, it's just hard to get rid of.
It is.
And as you said, you just can't play basketball. You can't do anything. You just have to rest it off,
Yes.
right? Okay, so I will say this. The more I've watched this, Jordan Poole does reach. He's not reaching for the basketball. He reaches and flat out grabs Ja's knee. Well, in all my years of watching either regular season or playoff basketball, maybe Chris can correct me, I have never seen a defender reach out and grab the knee of the man with the basketball. I've just never seen it before. And he's clearly, because the ball is loose for a moment, he's trying to pull Ja away from the basketball so Wiggins can secure the basketball. Okay, so did it pull his knee back quickly and semi-violently enough that his sneaker goes over on its edge, which would be the ankle, obviously, but could that cause some tearing of cartilage in the knee. It could. It'd be freakish, but it could, especially if you had some pathology in there already because he missed 25 games with knee problems.
Correct.
And by the way, what is deflating to me about this whole conversation, we argue back and forth, Zion versus Ja, Ja versus Zion. Well, now, these two young players both are very injury-prone for very different reasons, obviously, because one's really skinny and one's really not, right? Okay, so we got different sets of injury issues going on that could shorten both their careers.
They have very different anatomies.
I would say. But Ja's having a hard time staying healthy with his knees because he's Iverson-esque. He gets up so high among the trees, it's a long way down. And when he loses his balance and he hits the floor hard, bad things are happening to his knees. So, but I still think that it was weird and rare that Jordan Poole did reach and grab hold of his knee and tug on it for a second. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think, Skip, the name that comes to mind, and people don't really want to mention it, but it's Derrick Rose. And Derrick Rose was on this same trajectory as Ja. In fact, his third season, he won the MVP award.
He did.
So he accomplished more than Ja. Got to the conference finals and was just like Ja, right? Explosive, smaller guard. The difference was, and hopefully this will help Ja, he's not as herky-jerky as Derrick Rose was.
I agree.
I mean, Rose was always just cutting right so much. Ja, I would say he's more of a straight-line explosive player, more like Westbrook, but still more herky-jerky than Westbrook. He's probably in the middle of Rose and Westbrook. So hopefully his injury trajectory will be more like Westbrook's, and Westbrook's been hurt, but it hadn't hurt his career at all. Hopefully that, if he'll stay healthy like Westbrook has, rather than what we saw with Derrick Rose. But you're right, Skip, when you're explosive like that, at that small size, we've seen guys get injured in those cases.
Yeah, to me, Derrick Rose was a little more explosive than Ja is, but Ja can leap like for 6'2", I think he's about 6'2". I've never seen 6'2" get any higher than this 6'2" does, because he is jumping out of the gym, man.
Yeah, you're right. Skip, and I get it. The Grizz, that's their superstar player. Their superstar. He's a star. I don't think he's quite a superstar yet, but he's their best player. And I get it. He looks like he's going to be lost. But to try to pin this on Jordan Poole, when you know this man has had injuries.
Just get back for Dylan Brooks. It's just like eye for an eye. Okay? If we lose our guy, you should lose. They're still trying to campaign to get Jordan Poole suspended for a game. And it's not going to happen.
It's only
Great
one
stuff,
game
guys.
left.
We sure do appreciate you being with us, Chris. The playoffs are full of intrigue, that's for sure. All right, coming up, back to the gridiron. Can my guy OBJ still help a team this year? Don't go anywhere. That's next. How do you explain Embiid's performance last night?
Well, it's certainly hard to explain because it wasn't very good, his performance. But to address what Barkley said, it's possible. And Embiid addressed it and said, look, I knew weeks ago when an ESPN article came out that they polled a lot of the voters and Jokic won. And I looked at that poll, too, and at the time, I just talking to people around the league, some voters, looking at polls like that, it was evident Jokic was going to win. But if you're in Embiid's shoes, thinking something's going to happen but not knowing it for sure is different once you know it with certainty.
Correct.
And even if he felt, it looks like Jokic is going to win, I'm sure once it came out and it was virtually official, that's different. And that probably hit him in a different way. So I do think it's possible that it affected him. But, guys, when the news came out that Jokic won it, I was saying, Miami might pay for this. Like, I thought Embiid would be motivated by it, and instead, if it affected him, he was defeated by it. So I really thought he'd go out and have a great game, and if anything, the MVP snub, in his view, would motivate him to destroy Miami. But, guys, I'm going to go at a different reason, and it's been a criticism I've had of Embiid for years now, really since he became a great player. He doesn't play to his size. And he's awesome. And his mid-range jump shot is one of the best in the league. But if you look at the highlights we showed at the top of the segment, they were all jump shots. I looked at every shot he took. He's catching it at the elbow. He's dribbling between his legs at the foul line. He's shooting jumpers. He might as well be 6'5" right there. And sometimes he posts up. He posts up more than most players nowadays. But the benefit of being that big and being that powerful and having a post game is that when your jumper is off, you can go down low and punish the defense. Bam Adebayo looks tiny next to Joel Embiid. I mean, it looks like a son trying to guard his father. And Embiid didn't make him pay. You can either go down there and score, you can either go down there and draw double teams and kick it out to your shooters, or you can go down there and draw fouls. And he only got 3 free throw attempts last night. Now, maybe he doesn't want to go down there and bang because of the face, maybe even the thumb. Obviously, you're going to hit more contact down there. But I just think that on a night when you're not hitting all your jump shots, you should go down on the post, especially being that big. He's humongous. And like I said, he might as well have been a 6'4" guard the way he played last night offensively. So I'm going to blame that because he didn't use his size to get easy buckets last night.
Well, I don't know if I'm agree with you, but I think the thing is we don't know for certain. But it sure seemed like the news of him not winning the MVP impacted him. And he talked about it a month ago. He's like, yeah, if I don't win it now, that means the voters just don't like me. And he's human, and things of that nature is going